Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. We appreciate it. Bill Pucko, your host. Tariq Spence, how you doing, man?
Feeling good. Hopefully everybody's feeling just as good as I am.
And Pat Duffy, the what and the why for the uniform.
What do you mean, the what and the why? First of all, why 25 years? What? Don Beebe 75th anniversary, Bill's 35th anniversary game jersey. Why would you not put one of these on?
Why would you not? Hey, let's talk football, Tariq, in general. Look, we made it. We're into the college football postseason. The NFL is, into its postseason. Is this a win over COVID? Did the sport beat the disease?
Well, I mean, we're not through it all yet, and I am a little bit concerned about what's been going on with Ohio State and the national championship game, and what's going on with the Cleveland Browns going forward. But I think it's a win. I think we learned a lot. I think we learned from the NFL. Hey, listen, I'm sorry you've got COVID, but unless it's a major outbreak, you're still going to play. You're going to play with enough players. We can move the schedule around as much as we can, but we can't really bend for a week 18 like I suggested. But for college football, it was a little bit different. It was a bit of a push here from the universities, whether or not it was safe. I still think the best 4 teams, and we'll have a champion on Monday. So I think it is a win over COVID, barring any disaster between now and, Monday night.
I think it's still kind of up in the air. Would you allow the college football season to flick that game back maybe a week to protect Ohio State if it comes to that?
I would. Yeah, I would. I mean, it's the smarter thing to do. You've got your 2 teams. It would be the best interest for not only Ohio State's program, but Justin Fields as well. Maybe he's a little bit more banged up than he should be going out there to play. I want the 2 teams as healthy as possible. Alabama's gone through a lot this year with COVID as well. Maybe they need an extra week. It doesn't hurt to wait another 6-7 days.
Seems to me, Pat, all we have to do is ban Ohio and we're all set.
Yeah, it is weird, right? Both of those schools, Cleveland's been having problems all season. But, to talk about your initial question, it's inconclusive because let's be real, man. We saw it with the NBA last season. We saw it with the NHL last season. Regular season doesn't matter. The playoffs are what matter. And I do feel like, especially with the story we saw last week with Cleveland, the NFL's tempting fate. There's been talk, are they going to go into a bubble for the playoffs? Even like, an abbreviated bubble where teams live in a hotel and they just go to their own practice facilities. Why would you not do that? You have had issues. It's funny. The NFL made a bunch of statements. ESPN was talking about it, CBS Sports. They went a whole season without canceling games. Well, you're conveniently forgetting the chaos that existed that you cannot facilitate during the playoffs. You can't push games off. You can't delay anything. Do you want an NFL team having to play with a guy that's never played quarterback before like the Broncos had to, or the Titans that would be missing half of their roster had they had to play against Pittsburgh earlier? I mean, it does seem a little bit arrogant on the NFL's part that they did absolutely nothing to change something that was an imperfect plan to begin with.
I look at that Tennessee Bills game, and I think that might have been the turning point where Tennessee, coming off the whole COVID thing, played so well against Buffalo. And it was easy for the NFL to say, see, it doesn't make that much of a difference, right, Tariq?
To the same point that I think you had the time to actually get that extra weekend, push the maybe Super Bowl back a bit, and get everybody rested. We made this point before many times on the show. If you had taken an extra week, okay, the Browns have this COVID situation. Players get a chance to rest. Everybody gets to deprogram from the regular season. Maybe you go into the playoffs a little bit more healthy, a little bit more prepared. Guys maybe have a week to maybe do interviews for coaches, which I don't even think they should talk to a coach until after the Super Bowl is over. Like, you give people a chance to decompress from the most stressful season you've had in the NFL. It would have been smarter to at least give them a week off or have a week 18 to make up the games that would have decided whether or not this team gets a draft pick or not.
So it's inconclusive at this point, you think, Pat?
I mean, look, if you have some kind of major issue throughout the NFL playoffs, that's what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember that nobody canceled a game during the regular season. They're going to remember that the Chiefs had to play without X, or the Steelers had to play without Y, or the Saints had to play without Q. You know what I mean? Like, that will be the lasting image of this NFL season. You still got 5-6 weeks to go, man. You shouldn't be holding your arms over your head just yet.
Yeah, and Denver had to play with no quarterbacks. That's the one that still gets me. Hey, we're in the Rochester Press Box talking Buffalo Bills next.
Original Bay Goodman Pizza, located on the corner of North Winton at Browncroft. There are 3 ways to get the original Bay & Goodman delivery. Go to baygoodman.com.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. The Buffalo Bills. What a great season. And Pat, there were fans in the stands for the first time this year. I didn't think we were going to get to that point, but that's, that was kind of a positive thing, don't you think?
I am shocked that we got to that point. I am on record on this show a couple weeks ago as saying I didn't think it would happen. I mean, yeah, it's a positive thing as long as everything moving forward stays cool and, there's no major issues. Yeah, I don't know. It is a little bit romantic the way that this season has gone, that there were people that were in the stands to witness what happened. And not only that, but you get to see, a future legend, knock on wood, in Josh Allen, a current legend in Phillip Rivers. And you have, 25 years after he leaves the Bills to go sign with the Panthers, former backup Frank Reich coming in with the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, it seems like things are going the way that they were supposed to go.
I go back to something you said at the very beginning of the season that I keep reminding myself of. You said, this is the year that the Bills will make the Super Bowl because we're not going to be allowed to see them.
Well, I mean, I tried to tell you Cuomo wanted to have this happen for Buffalo Bills fans. I mean, it's 2.5 decades before, this team has gotten back into the playoffs. And I'm happy for the Bills fans. I'm happy they got a chance to really see this season up close for the small number that they usually obviously have. It would be a packed stadium going forward if we didn't have COVID. But I mean, what's interesting about this is the fact that this is it's a home game. You're still going to have the field. The ratings are going to be through the roof. Everybody is going to be asking Duffy to actually auction off any Bills paraphernalia that they can get because apparently he's got plenty of it and they can't keep it on the shelves. So, I mean, listen, Duffy, you could really make a lot of dough if you're trying to get rid of some old tattered Bills gear.
Okay, first of all, I think my wife has called you and tried to get you to talk me into something. I don't appreciate that. No, I'm not. No, I'm keeping it all. It's all mine forever. I'm buying more. Just keep sending it to my house. All of the AFC championships or AFC East championships. It's great. I'm having a blast. Stop ruining it.
Are you kidding me? Come on. It's a great opportunity, Duffy. You've never been as hot as you are right now, especially if you go to the Super Bowl.
It's just money, man. It's just money. Bill stuff, that's forever.
Hey, Pat, I want to ask you, do you think this petition to keep Governor Cuomo out of that first game was a little mean-spirited?
Well, I mean, look, it was obvious what it was for. We talked about this actually earlier this week on the break room because, as a Bills fan, yeah, I don't want any bandwagon. Look, the governor patronizes Bills fans when he talks about the Bills. He's not actually a Bills fan. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And it's his call that makes this happen. And him being there, seeing how it goes, they're running it as an experiment if they can do more major events. I understand why he wanted to be there. Politically, I think it makes him look better. Look, there's nothing that guy could have done after everything over the last 9 months where people would have been like, oh, good job. I'm happy with what he did here, right?
Well, how hard is it to say thank you? This is a big deal. This guy would not let anything go on. He's got current lawsuits going on with people that feel he should open up even more. I just feel as if, hey, you may not like the guy in other political circles or wherever you stand, but he did do a solid for you and Bills fans.
So heading into the playoffs, the Bills are 7-1 against winning the Super Bowl. It was I think third best, third or fourth, can't be worse than fourth. Pat, that's I think quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it is interesting, right? It all comes down to how your schedule plays out because first 4 games of the season, the Bills are the hottest team in the league. They're Super Bowl buzz. Then you drop those back-to-back games against the Titans and the Chiefs, and all of a sudden the Bills are overrated and overhyped. And, as the season moves on, the schedule gets a little bit easier as it turns out. All of a sudden the Bills are hot again. I don't read too much into this stuff. I've been believing that as the season moved on about this team the entire time. It's just now in primetime games against teams that didn't look all that great. Well, they got to see how great the Bills can be. They've been there this whole time, man. This is nothing new.
And Josh Allen's going to finish top 3 in the MVP race, I think, Tariq.
Yeah, I think he should finish top 3. I don't think he should win it. I think the person that should win it is Derrick Henry, 2,000 yards rushing. Don't give me that look, Duffy. He's the 8th player in NFL history to rush for over 2,000 yards. And the other 4 that won MVP, 4 out of 7 won MVP, and one of which was O.J. Simpson. So don't give me that look come on.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers is going to win, right?
You need it. I know Rodgers is going to win, but you need an offensive line to gain 2,000 yards. You need a decent quarterback to catch and be an impact wide receiver. As a quarterback, man, you're kind of hanging on your own, and that's why Allen and Mahomes and Rodgers, that's why they deserve it over any running back that's ever played in the last 5 years in the NFL.
Wow.
Ever in the last 5 years. Hey, we're the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not is next. Here's the Press Box trivia question brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
All of these things show Josh Allen has a strive for greatness inside of him.
Falcon Around with Carl Falk. New episodes every Tuesday on Rock Sports Now.
Here's the Press Box trivia answer brought to you by Market View Liquor, where exceptional customer service meets an extensive selection. Jefferson Road at 390.
Are you facing criminal charges from a DWI and feel that you never imagined it could happen to you? Contact attorneys with years of experience as prosecutors and defenders. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today for a free consultation. You can put your trust in us.
Hi, and welcome back. This is the Rochester Press Box. This portion of the Press Box, like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law Firm, attorneys with years of experience defending the accused. Don't go unprepared. Contact Ganguly Brothers Law today. Like it or not, Tariq, and I know you're not going to like it, but the performance of the Philadelphia Eagles in the last game of the regular season.
Well, no. I don't like what it did for my team, basically knocking them out of playoff contention and avoiding a date with Tom Brady, in which we seem to do very well against Tom Brady when the pressure's on the line. My New York Football Giants. I think what happens here is it's the players talking after this that really is really starting getting me to not like this. Because I'm seeing from a number of players on the Eagles that they didn't know this was going to happen and that they were kind of confused by it. Yet the broadcasters during the game basically said that the head coach was planning on playing the backup quarterback anyway. So I'm kind of confused as to how the players didn't know and they were kind of perturbed by it. But the coach kind of told the broadcast crew that they was going to do this. It just led to, I don't know, it's going to lead to a rocky offseason for the Eagles because you have to make a decision about Carson Wentz. You don't know about Jalen Hurts yet. He's played a few games, but he hasn't had a full season. We'll see what goes on. But the Philadelphia Eagles created more questions than they did answer them for next season.
Pat, I thought it was awful. When I heard Chris Collinsworth say what I thought was maybe the most cutting remark I've ever heard from an analyst, when he said, I couldn't do that to a team of mine. He says, I just couldn't do that.
Hold on. Look, I am getting so sick of all the self-righteous people I've been hearing. Oh, integrity of the game. You have to play to win and, competitive advantage. It was in their best competitive advantage, their best competitive consideration to lose that game. Doug Peterson gets assurance from upstairs that he's not going to lose his job. You're gaining multiple spots on a draft pick in a division that is a nightmare. Look, the defensive end there for Washington, right? He changes the makeup of that defense. That's what one player taken high in the draft can do. You look at the rest of that division, you could be a player away from running away with that division with 8 wins. They made the right decision doing what they did. Those players got paid to be there. I'm so sick of when we pick and choose when it's about money and when it's about pride and integrity. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Now, that would be me, actually, because I'm totally on the other side of the fence. One last thing on that. If the decision wasn't made at the head coaching level, Pat, doesn't the owner or the general manager have a responsibility, given how much the coach has been through with this, to say, hey, it was my call, take him off the hook?
Come on, man. We've all had bosses before. How many bosses are going to make a terrible decision, stand up and go, oh, that was me? No, they're going to let Peterson do it, and they're going to look at it this way. Peterson's going to keep his job despite the mistakes that he made this season in an unbelievably winnable NFC West, right? Or excuse me, NFC East. So, no, it's going to be, we're letting you keep your job. You can deal with this dynamite that we just set off, and you're not going to take credit because guess what? Doug Peterson could be blown out by the end of next season, and that GM possibly and the owner are going to have to still go in front of the media.
Which would be great for my New York Football Giants, by the way.
Hey, Pat, quickly, like it or not, the idea of using corporate sponsorship on the division names in the NHL this year.
Yeah, what is it, like the Honda Eastern or whatever? Look, normally I would hate this, just like I normally would hate the advertisements on the helmets that the NHL are doing this year, but You need revenue. You're a gate-driven league. You're not going to have anyone in the stands. I understand. I'm fine with it this year. Like, let it happen. I just want to see hockey. My big fear is that the NFL realizes how much money there is in this kind of advertising, and it continues into the year after. I am very cynical, so I expect this to be happening. But if it's just for this year, I understand. Just let me watch some hockey.
I always thought as a broadcaster, when I was doing TV every day, that when these stadiums were renamed, they had the corporate sponsorship, they had some kind of I really should use the corporate sponsorship name of the stadium because they were paying so much into the sport for it. I'm not buying into this whole name the division thing, though, not as much. So we are the Rochester Press Box. Like it or not, brought to you by Ganguly Brothers Law, and Unfinished Business is next.
The Press Box Stat of the Week is being brought to you by McArdle's Restaurant in Fairport. McArdle's is open 7 days a week with dining available indoors and out, takeout and delivery. Come home to McArdle's.
And now to Eichel. He floated one.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on the Rochester Press Box. It's time for Unfinished Business. Pat Duffy, go first.
I said I just want to watch some hockey. We had a great reprieve. If you're a hockey fan, the last 2 weeks, the World Junior Under-20 tournament happened. The best under 20-year-old hockey players in the world getting together, playing for their countries. And it's a big deal in every country. Not so much in the United States. In Canada, it's broadcast live. Like the kids getting cut are broadcast live. Well, guess what? In Canada, it's a huge deal, and their team was stacked. Almost 24 first-round picks on this roster. It was a guarantee they were going to win gold. Well, guess what? United States, Canada, Tuesday night, gold medal game, a 2-0 victory for Team USA. They take home the gold on Canadian ice over this unstoppable Canadian juniors team. There is something that makes me feel so warm inside about American hockey, not only winning a gold, but doing it over a country that believes that hockey is their birthright, that they can do no wrong, that they're going to be dominant all the time, and whatever decision they make is the right decision. Well, guess what? You lost to America, who, at least for the next 12 months, has the rightful claim as Hockey Central Global. How you like me now?
For my New York Football Giants, all you needed to do was beat the Cowboys and wait for the Washington football team to lose to Philadelphia. Well, Philadelphia chose not to play football, literally, in the last few quarters of the game. So what do you do with this? You move on. I am sick and tired of the New York Giants basically saying I would never do that. It's time to go. You face the Philadelphia Eagles twice every season. If you're so upset about it, circle it on the calendar. When you beat the Philadelphia Eagles the first time, don't forget about it. Beat them a second time. And if you should see them in the playoffs again next year, beat them a third time. The complaining about whether or not they played hard is irrelevant. It was out of your hands. What was in your hands were earlier games in the season where you could have won against teams like the Chicago Bears, against teams like were close games, like the first game against the Dallas Cowboys. There are a number of games that were in the hands of the New York Football Giants. I understand they're a young team. I understand they have a young quarterback. I understand they have a new head coach. I get all those things with the pandemic. But please, let's stop complaining about what other teams did to kick you out of the playoffs and work on making the playoffs in your own right next season.
We got to know Anthony Lynn through his time serving under Coach Rex Ryan with the Buffalo Bills. When Ryan wore out his welcome, Lynn took over on an interim basis and lost his only game here. Sean McDermott replaced Ryan the next year, but Lynn landed on his feet. He spent the last 4 years as the coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. He wasn't very good. Made some awful in-game management decisions. Perhaps he cost his team some games. Still, he was respected and he was liked, and he won his last 4 before getting fired. Now, losing a job puts you at a crossroads. What you do next matters. You can try a George Costanza and pretend that it never happened. You can claim you were cheated. You can jump up and down, make a lot of noise, and a fool out of yourself. That becomes your legacy. There is another way, of course. Through a statement released by Lynn through the team that just fired him, Anthony said this, quote, "Growing up, coaches were like father figures to me. That's why I wanted to be a coach. It's been an honor and a privilege to represent the Los Angeles Chargers on and off the field, and I am grateful to everyone in the community who has been so supportive." That's how you do it. That is Unfinished Business, and that is our show. Guys, thanks very much.
Oh, I'm so upset Lynn got to let go. I mean, you've got Justin Herbert there. The future is very bright offensively. Oh, it's so sad, but it had to happen.
Thank God for Justin Herbert that he got let go. Thank God.
And that is our program. Thanks for joining us on the Rochester Press Box, and we'll see you again next week.